Hello, Internet. My name's Noah, also known as the Biggest Fella. I am joined by the rising star, the meteoric superstar of weight loss, Mike Pridgeon. And today we are doing something that doesn't really have a name yet. We really just kind of did this half baked idea. We just FaceTimed each other like a week ago and, like, hey, let's just give ourselves an excuse to talk to each other every week. We know a lot about weight loss. We've both lost 110 pounds and we're kind of just becoming friends now, and we've been friends for a while, and we have a lot to talk about, and we figured this would be a really fun way to share our knowledge, discuss different parts of our journey, talk about how we help people, because now Mike is officially a coach. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I have no idea what I'm doing, which is why Mike
Yet.
needs a plan.
Yes,
That's where you can
exactly.
find me everywhere. I think we should call it Big Fellas.
Ooh, with a Z, like it is on the Gorillas, like the band.
And then we have cartoon
Oh.
versions of ourselves. Yeah. Like the branding here is pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. I know a guy
So
that can get us those graphics too. That's fire. Okay. You guys may have just seen the branding to this, but this episode's going to be a pretty quick one. We're recording this on the 10th of January, so we are coming into this a little bit late, but as a coach in the weight loss industry, New Year's is a busy time for us folks. So this episode, whatever the hell you want to call it, I struggle to call this a podcast, by the way. I don't want you guys to there's enough podcasts in the world. This is just two homies talking about weight loss. However, we're going to talk about New Year's. We're going to talk about resolutions. We're going to talk about the holiday hangover. We're going to talk about what we've seen in ourselves and in other people and just kind of riff off of that. But these could evolve into some monstrosity conversations. And we've talked long form before on Mike Needs a Plan, the podcast on Spotify, available on all podcast platforms, by the way. Go check it out. And that conversation went very dark in a lot of different twists and turns very quickly. And that was much earlier in our friendship. So this could get weird.
I think this is really the perfect time, January 10th, because there's a lot of people now who started their New Year's resolutions. They were doing good, or so to speak. We'll talk about why they weren't maybe doing as good as they thought for a few days. And now they might be slowing down a little bit. When you had asked what we should talk about today, I thought that might have been a pretty timely topic, considering that we've got a few people listening to this that might be struggling out there right now.
There's got to be at least one watching.
Oh,
we'll get at least
for
one
sure.
view, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping
If you're the
for.
only one, you're weird being the only person who fell off your New Year's resolution this year,
Exactly.
and you should feel bad about it.
No, absolutely, man. It's
yeah.
something that, everybody, it's the cliche thing. I was a victim to it for years. Did you make any resolutions yourself this year? Not even fitness related? Like, I just made goals for 2024, but like not like big resolutions. I guess the only thing I would say is that I'm trying to practice like stillness. But we'll talk about that mindset shit later. Today, we're talking about the New Year's resolutions, and Mike hit on a really good point. Like, this is the time where the first waves of everybody is starting to fall off. You'll see a lot of the people that are trying the ketos, intermittent fastings. Again, intermittent fasting has its place. That's a tool to be used. But the people who really are walking into something blind, the desire is there, but the education and the know-how is not. This is really the point where that first wave of people fall off. This is when you start seeing the gym start getting a little bit more back to normal. Not many of those new faces are coming around. Also, my gym was not nearly as busy as I thought it would be. How was yours?
Really? It
No, not
wasn't
at all.
terrible, honestly. We did get a few new faces in there, which, by the way, if you're still going to the gym and you feel like you shouldn't be there because you're new or whatever, you belong there because you pay for your membership. And if you're one of the people who's complaining about a lot of people being there, you should probably cancel yours.
You're a part of the problem. Exactly.
Part of the problem. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others.
And I would put a lot of money on if you asked a question to anybody that went to your gym, they're probably going to respond with a smile and an actual practical answer as opposed to some cartoonish response that you've fabricated in your mind. The gym community is one of the most supportive. I feel like I'm at home when I'm at the gym. And am I a person with no life that just works and lifts all the time? Yes. But I've also gone to this gym for 6-7 years, and I've developed some very nice, long-lasting, very good relationships with a lot of people at my gym. All it really is one conversation, and then now you got a gym bro. It's really that simple. I've got a lot of these people you'll never talk to again outside of the gym. This is fine. Doesn't need to be anything more than that, but now you got somebody to wave to every time you go. It's far more supportive community than people really realize.
There's a lot of assholes in the world, and almost none of them are at the gym. In fact, the assholes who are at the gym talking about all the people who are in the gym, they're being an asshole on the internet, not at the gym.
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
not willing to tell those people face to face. They're just willing to complain about it. So don't worry about it because they're not going to bother you. I have a
We
really great story from yesterday. I was
Ooh,
on the chest press machine and
yes.
I was pushing real hard. And I just happened to open my eyes at a second where a guy was walking across from me. And I was just able to breathe out like an apology to him because I didn't want to push my weights in his way. No, he showed up to help me lift the weights a little bit,
Complete
like just
stranger?
just to give me that extra push so I could get those final couple of reps in there. We both had earbuds in. We could not have communicated. I couldn't have turned my music off to hear him. And I got those last couple of reps in, just gave him a fist pound, and he gave me a smile and he was on his way. He walked over just to help me do that.
Oh yeah.
And that's really big. That's huge. And I had something like that last year too, where a guy, way bigger than me, that bar's not very high, walked over, saw me doing the tricep rope pull downs, and he just showed me how to angle my arms a little bit.
With
Just
the
he's
wrist
like, I
twist.
noticed that your form's different. Yeah, it just like
Yeah.
I guess my arms weren't where they should have been positioned next to
Oh,
me.
okay. Okay.
Mhm. And he's like, here, just do it this way, and just moved me a little bit, and then went on his way. And I've been doing that ever since. And it's my triceps are pretty big now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. That little nudge. I mean, I have very close friends now. Actually, somebody, his name's Grant. If you're watching this, I love you. Grant actually helps me with Big Fella Fitness. He's been helping me for months now. And we met 2 years ago because he just decided to go in and help out my lifting partner, who's Greg. Also, Greg, if you're watching this, I love you. Grant helped Greg in a similar scenario to what you just described. And now we're all three friends. And now we all lift together. And I mean, every time we go, we're sitting there, we're yapping it up, we're there and we're just having a good time. And I mean, some really strong bonds come from just those initial first conversations. And I've had a lot of younger people come to my gym recently this year, like a lot of high school kids, like freshmen, sophomores in college. And a lot of them, my sister was a little younger than me. So I think I had kind of like a reputation amongst the younger crowd. I'm 22. I think in like the 18 to 20-year-old range, I have kind of a reputation because I'm Chloe's older brother that did the fitness thing. And when people saw me, I mean, we live in a small town. I'm not saying I'm anybody. We just live in a small town and there's only a handful of gyms to go to. Okay. I'm not talking myself up at all. But then these younger people would come up to me and they would like initiate conversation, and then I am like, it's fun to be that big brother role or just that supportive role of the motivator or the uplifter. It's like, hey, I'm happy to see you here. Mike, I feel like you and I can really run with this, and I really shouldn't be spilling this because this is an idea that I thought was genius that I came up with like years ago. I just haven't
Ooh,
executed on it yet.
okay.
Next January, you and I are certainly doing this, and if we need to fly out to do it, we can.
I'm in.
I want to create a shirt that says, I'm happy you're here. Ask me any questions you may have, and wear it from the first day of January all the way for the entirety of January. So you are creating a welcoming environment for all the gym newbies around.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And hopefully by next year I'll be big enough to wear that shirt with conviction.
It's a pump cover. Well, no, it better be big on me too.
Can it be one of those? It's got to be a compression shirt, but it's also got to have one of those like prosthetic arms where it's like I'm gonna have to wear wristbands to
Shooter
cover up where it
sleeves.
cuts off. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the king of the compression shirts. You do be wearing those compression shirts very nicely.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Well,
God, I
back to
love
the.
that.
Well, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Oh,
I
the
was just
idea?
about to say, I love that shirt idea. That's really cool.
I feel like that's on brand for both of us, very much so. I think that's something we should execute on. But back to kind of the main talking point here about like more specifically the New Year's and on the diet side and the journey side, not just us talking about how welcoming the gym environment really is. Whatever diet or cutting a food out, or maybe you are making the right changes. Maybe you've been listening to Mike Pridgeon or Noah Tanner, biggest fella on TikTok. Maybe you've been listening to the smart people. I'm not calling us smart. We're idiots in the good way, but there's other really good creators on TikTok that maybe you're taking the right advice and you're just like, okay, I'm going to shoot for 100 grams of protein a day, or I'm going to do XYZ, whatever. Like, for example, I actually had, just the way their programs lined it up, I had like 4 or 5 different clients kind of start the gym either right before or right after Christmas and right at the holiday season. They're fucking crushing it. They're loving every second of it. But one thing I've noticed this year, a couple instances with my clients, but also just like overall, it feels like it took everybody like an extra week. It feels like everyone was still, it took longer for people to get out of the holiday mode
Mhm.
instead of like, that warp of space time from December 26th to December 31st where nothing really exists and nothing matters.
Yeah.
Uh Obviously you have that, and then you have New Year's, which people don't make super big deal out of, which is rightfully so. I feel like right now, today feels like more New Year's Eve than it ever has. I feel like I have more people messaging me, more people commenting, and I just see like more overall positive, like fresh year energy. So I feel
Mhm.
like it took people longer. I think they got a kind of a little bit of a hangover where they got really lax for like a longer period of time instead of like maybe one concentrated binge. It's just like they took a little extra time. Have you seen anything like that?
Not only did I have one of the largest one-day spikes of followers toward my Instagram that I've ever experienced, but
Yeah.
my gym started picking up like this week. It didn't start
Really?
January 1st like I thought. Yeah, it
Right,
really did
right.
take a little bit longer. Why do you think that is?
Well, as a former New Year's resolutioner, I didn't start the weight loss journey on the New Year's, but I got my gym membership when I was 16 as a Christmas present.
Okay.
The mindset behind somebody who gets a gym membership for Christmas or just signs up for a gym, whatever, they are also trying to avoid the herd of new people.
Mhm.
So
Ooh.
part of it is more preparation,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit of procrastination in some cases. But a lot of it comes down to I want to be comfortable and I don't want it to be a zoo when I'm there. So I'm going to avoid. I did that. I didn't go till like the 7th, I think. It's been a long time, but I think it was like, it was not day one. I promise you that. It was not Jan 1st. It was like a week later. I went with my neighbor, Maxwell, and he was showing me around. I remember I was so nervous, but it was fine. I mean, I've been going to that gym for years, but I think that's something that people don't really, it's a strategy that a lot of people use. And I'm going to keep an eye out for more new faces today because when I went there yesterday, the parking lot was packed. So
Mhm.
it might be kind of happening to my gym again as well that I just haven't realized it yet.
Yeah. And who knows? Who knows what it's going to look like a couple of weeks from now? It's going to start to wear away as people fall off of it or find other things that they want to do or end up giving up. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about with you today and hopefully enlighten some people who might be at that point already or approaching that point as to what it is that they're doing right now that they would feel the need to fall off of, because I've got a couple of solutions for those people. I will be often asked, like, what happens if we need a break from our deficit or a break from our routine? And I will tell them that's a two-step process. One, you take the break, you stop, you take a rest. Rest is part of your training routine. Number two, you take that time to assess why it is that you needed a break from that routine in the first place. Why was it so difficult that it necessitated having to stop?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the same thing. I have taken diet breaks in the past. I've had clients who've kind of done it from time to time as well. Usually I try to line those up with like, hey, you got a wedding coming up, like enjoy yourself for the weekend. Don't go fucking
Mhm.
don't go insane, but like use this time to kind of enjoy yourself, really analyze what choices you make in certain scenarios, but also if you're feeling that fatigue, mental fatigue, use it as an identify like why am I feeling this way?
Mhm.
Why am I so exhausted? Why am I cranky all the time? Something that is pretty related to this is I'm so excited to talk more about our own personal training styles, like as far as like actual physically, but you in the gym and me in the gym, how we think about those things. I'm very excited for us to talk about that. But with the self analyzation and really looking at yourself from a, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? It can be very hard. People think that something's really a lot. I've noticed that when something is wrong, like they get headaches or they're not feeling well, they think it's like a really terrible problem when in reality, it's like you just need a cookie.
Mhm.
It's really that much simple. But the intuitive part of it comes from like the bulking versus the cutting. I know I'm done bulking when I'm winded going up the stairs. It's simple. If I feel my loose skin jiggling a little too much, they got too much swang on them things. I know that my loose skin is okay. I'm out of breath. It's time to cut. And likewise with the end of the cut, and this is what most people are probably going to feel. What you were saying, I'm cranky all the time. I'm getting dog shit sleep. I have low energy all the way around. Probably should either take a diet break, reassess what your calorie numbers are looking like, and it might be time for a break. I mean, maybe you are at a time to go into a maintenance or a bulk phase.
Now let's talk about why that might happen over the course of 10 days. Because that's where some people are right now, or 2 weeks, or whenever this thing drops, as the kids say. What could it be that you're doing that is so unsustainable that in perhaps 2 weeks, you're already feeling the way that Noah's describing? There's a couple of things that people tend to do in the new year. One, and I know you're going to feel this, they'll cut out carbs.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that a bad idea?
Oh man, do we want to be here for a couple days? I mean, come on now.
We'll
I
be
mean,
here longer than
carbs
we would if we were doing keto, that's for sure.
will look like the Withers from Baldur's Gate. Anyway, yeah, so keto's a terrible idea for a million different reasons. You're cutting out an entire macronutrient. There are 3 macronutrients: proteins, carbs, and fats. Carbs are, when you look at it from a purely technical standpoint, they are technically not essential. Essential meaning you need them to survive. Like, there are a lot of micronutrients like potassium, calcium, et cetera, et cetera. Those are essential. If you do not consume any potassium or calcium, after a while, you're going to fucking croak. Carbs are technically not essential for overall survival, but carbs are everywhere. That's the main reason. I'm not going to dive into all the reasons keto is bad. We can have a whole episode for keto. I'm down to do that. Let's just have a whole keto roast session. But the main reason I'd say for rookies is because carbs are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Every vegetable on the planet, carbs. Every fruit on the planet, carbs. Every snack, every cookie or processed like chip, every cracker, every pretzel, carbs. Oatmeal, all whole grains, all pastas, all rices, carbs.
Mm-hmm.
All like basic sour candies, all chocolate, carbs. But yeah, that's the main reason I would say carbs are or keto is a terrible idea, especially walking in as a beginner. They're just everywhere. I mean, think of all the foods I just bread, all tortillas. I mean, the carbs are literally everywhere. So just pretty much going flat out and saying you can only have like lettuce, tacos as your carbs, or like you're eating. I mean, anyway, let's go to the other reasons why, because I can get revved up pretty quick.
Yeah. I do want to say really quick, it's not the carbs putting fat on you, it's the excess. And we're able to eat a lot of carbs in one sitting, whereas we can't eat a lot of protein. You can kill a bag of chips without an issue. Think about eating 4 eggs. Are you going back for seconds? Probably not.
Nope.
So, total restriction is one of them, but restriction overall is another one too, where people drop their calories super, super low. So, by this time, they're going to start feeling fatigued and tired and wanting to eat everything for the same reason that we want to gasp for air when we hold our breaths. It's the same function. We're just sort of gasping for food in a way. Your body needs it to operate.
Mm-hmm. I think that can be really, it's kind of simplified into just like people will dive into like MyFitnessPal,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, all right, I know that I can go off of 1,500 calories, whatever, and I'm just gonna eat that, and I'm only gonna eat clean,
Whatever that means.
right? And I'm just gonna eat nothing but the health foods, and I'm gonna track my food, and I'm gonna only hit 1,500 calories, and if I hit 1,500 calories at noon, that means I can't eat the rest of the day. Good luck there, Jeffrey, because that's not gonna fucking work.
No, not at all.
It's the diving into calorie tracking too soon is something that I see far too often, and honestly, when I get on calls with people, it's one of the more common ones, is that they've tried calorie tracking in the past, but they never stuck to it. It's usually about a month or two. Like 3 months is like usually the longest it ever is before people drop off. So that's a really good one. Another one, we've talked a lot about food being obviously that's the main catalyst for fat loss, of course, but it adds a lot of stress when it comes to stuff that has physical restrictions. Like, obviously you're going to eat every day. That just comes down to choosing what you're going to eat.
You should be eating every day. Stop fasting. That's another
boy.
one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
go on.
But The one that really screws people up is when they give themselves really stupid, unsustainable workout routine schedule. Like, I'm going to go to the gym at 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. before I go to work. Brother, man, there takes a very specific type of person to do it, and you are not him, okay? It
Yeah.
is a 1% of the 1% of the population in this country, and guess what? The motherfuckers that need to do that are already doing it, and you're not one of them, and that's fine. It doesn't make you less of a person. You're just not that guy, pal. And that's fine. That's completely okay. That does not make you less of a person. But do you really think going into it, January 4th, that alarm goes off at 3:55 and you'd rather be anywhere else than driving to your car and it's fucking cold. It's January. I used to open for my gym. When I was in college, I was opener at my gym. I got up at 3:45 in the morning to open up the gym, turn the lights on, and actually open the doors for all the senior citizens
And you're
at
way up
5 a.m.
north too, so it's a
I'm
whole
in
different kind
Michigan.
of cold. Yeah.
Scraping off your car in January at 5 a.m.?
No, thank you. I don't want to be
It's
that
hell. It's hell. So when you are going into the new year with obviously all the food and the cutting out, we talk about that a ton and we will continue to do so. But also make your workouts and your movement, I should just call it movement, make your movement easy to do. Make it easy to make the right choice. You know what's not easy? Waking up at 4 in the fucking morning to go to the gym. People do it. If it needs to be done, it needs to be done. But at the same time, do you really see yourself doing that long term? You know for a fact when you said you were going to do it, you're not doing it for more than a month. And that's the problem. People are setting themselves up for failure because they don't believe in their heart of hearts that they're going to stick to it. It's the language of I'm going to try my best. No. If you were really about it and you were really going to do it, you'd say I'm going to do it. It's not if there's not an I'm going to try. If you wanted something that bad, you're going to say I will.
Here's the controversial opinion on this, but I know you'll agree with me, if not with a little bit of reservation. The gym is not necessary, especially if that's not the thing that you want to do. If you don't want to do something, find the thing that you will want to do. The gym is not necessary for weight loss, nor is it the main driver of your weight loss. Sustainability is. You do the same thing over a long period of time, it's going to be a lot more effective than going to the gym for 14 days or a month and skipping a bunch of days because it was too cold. If you can't keep doing something, there's no reason to try to force yourself to do it.
Mike and I are not in the weight loss business. We are in the lifestyle change business when weight loss just kind of happens in the background. That's what Mike and I try to do.
It's a harder sell.
Oh yeah.
But it's worth it.
In reality, the weight loss should just kind of happen on accident in the back. Obviously, it's on purpose, but it should just kind of happen in the background. What we're really trying to look for is the principles, the knowledge, the mindset, the mental communication, how you speak to yourself. That's what we're concerned about. Because if you're doing that for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I guarantee you, you're gonna feel a lot better about yourself physically and like inside and out. So that's what we're shooting for. And then next thing you know, you blink and you're down however much weight you wanted to be down. Like, oh shit.
You fix the mind,
that's how it
and
works.
The body follows.
That's how it works. That's how it works. The guys that I have that are down 50, 60, 90, it's not because they were chasing numbers. Obviously, the numbers were a factor, but it was the lifestyle change. It was making it fit into their schedules. It was making it fit into what they liked to do. It wasn't me saying, all right, Mike, chicken and rice for breakfast, chicken and rice for lunch. You get half a grain of salt for dinner and 47 gallons of water.
By the way, salt's not making you fat either. It does not put fat onto your body. It will make you retain some water weight, and it's probably not great for your circulation to have a lot of it.
That's a really good episode for us to talk about.
Water weight? Oh, goodness.
All the different reasons you could gain it. I got receipts, man. I got lists.
Oh, let's just I'll cover one right now.
Cheers, brother.
I gained weight. If I were to step on the scale right now, if you were to step on the scale right now, what would you see on that scale that you wouldn't have seen 30 seconds ago?
Probably, I don't know, 0.0004 pounds heavier.
Mm-hmm. And if you didn't have the mindset that you do right now, that might mess with you a little bit.
You know, I know the fucked up thing too.
Always.
Me not drinking that water also would cause me to hold on to water weight.
Yep, because your body's going to start struggling. Same thing with
That's
not
where this
eating
shit just
enough.
doesn't get fair.
When you start starving yourself too, your metabolism's going to start to downregulate. You've got some bloating going on there, so you're going to be like, oh shit, I'm still holding on to so much weight. I'm going to have to cut my calories even lower, and your body's going to rebel against you there too. And then once you do start eating again, because that will result in a binge, your metabolism is downregulated. You're in survival mode at that point. Your body's going to want to put fat back on. It's
Couldn't
a
agree more.
really nasty cycle. You don't want to get caught in it.
But I think those are probably the main things inhibiting people's progress, or causing the reasons for falling off. You know, it's the reaching for the stars. That the best way I like to call it is you're swinging for a home run when you've never gotten on base.
That's good.
Just get on base, dude. Like fucking bunt if you have to. I don't care. But you're trying to be a Grand Slam Shohei Ohtani when, I mean, you've never even done this before. So it's the unsustainability of workout programs. It's cutting entire groups out. It's setting really high expectations. There's also a lot of mental framing that comes into this. And it's really easy to get really, really like woo woo when you talk too much about mental stuff the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You do a good job of it, but for most people, it's hard to talk about like discipline, consistency, all this other stuff without just sounding like woo woo and kind of just the words lose their meaning. However, a lot of mental framing, that's really important. And the biggest killer that I see is, oh, I'm not down 5 pounds in the first week. What the hell? What do you mean? Come on.
I was
Let's be real
talking
with
to a
ourselves.
client today, and
Oh, I love that you can say that now. Oh, fuck
yeah, isn't that fun? He was talking to me about his goal weight, which, by the way, I don't work with anyone who leads with their goal weight because I know that they're not ready yet. I will eventually, but as of right now, I want to work more on the mindset part of it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on basics.
I could see a very realistic future where Mike and I combine our brain powers into like one super mega mind coaching.
Oh, for sure.
thing.
I have an idea that I want to run by you in a little bit, but
Cool,
that'll be
cool.
after the call.
Yeah, we'll call like when I'm driving to the gym to get a nasty pump.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
What are you hitting today?
Today's my legs and my core.
Legs and core.
Yeah,
Valid. Nice.
combine them into one day. But I was talking to a guy who he was telling me his goal weight was around 200 pounds. I said, okay, perfect. What does that 200 pounds represent to you? What does that mean? What happens when you get there? He says, well, when I hit that 200, I'll be happier, I'll be healthier, I'll be able to move around more. And so I told him, okay, what happens at 205? And he's like, yeah, I suppose it's not all that much different. And I said, okay, 206, 207. At what point along that journey are you changed? Why is it 200? Why is 210 not good enough? If I could snap half that weight off, would you take it or would you leave it because it's not what you wanted? It's not about the number on the scale. It never was. It's about the person on the scale and what that number represents. What can you do with it? What does that allow you to do? And when does that come into play? Now. It's not later. You are going to very slowly get to that point where 200 is great, but you will have done so much between now and then that you should be proud of more than that number. That number doesn't mean anything. You do.
Absolutely. And something that I've found when people often do give a goal weight, it's usually coming from a perspective of either it's a past weight that they used to have, whether a lot of people like going back to their high school weights for different reasons or for, whatever. Or they'll say, oh, I'm this tall, so I think I should be this weight. And then they bring out some, I always ask, okay, but what does that do for you? What does this do for you? What does being at, for example, this gentleman, 200 pounds do for you? What does that unlock? I'm thinking like, okay, think of it as like a video game. What skills are you unlocking? Because when I work with people, I'm all about, we both will talk about a ton with the non-scale victories. It's about, like you said, the person you become as the scale chunks down. But what skills are you unlocking? I had a client yesterday text me. She's saying it's getting a hell of a lot easier to stand up when she's done with her ab exercises at the gym, to get off the floor. I had another guy tell me that he had no issue with the seatbelt on an airplane. That's a big one. That's a big one
Oh,
that most
man.
people, when they're not overweight, people never think about that. That is a massive one. When you are large, the seatbelt of an airplane is your arch nemesis. So that is what people are, I think, are mostly after. But like Mike says, if you are too just absolutely ingrained in on the specific number, you're thinking of it like a light switch when really it's a gradient. It's not a yes or a no. It's slowly transforming into, wow, I'm just loving myself more and more as this journey goes on, as opposed to black, white, yes, no.
I'll hit you with just a really quick story. I don't want to take up a bunch of time on this. People will ask me what my lowest point was mentally, what made me want to change everything. It wasn't at my heaviest. That's what they're expecting me to tell them. Is, I was balls deep in a thing of chicken wings, and I covered in sauce everywhere. It was
What sauce? What sauce?
I'm a little bit weird. I don't like it super hot, but I love my ranch. I love my blue cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had creamy chipotle wings?
No, but it sounds decadent.
Really good. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to an establishment that serves creamy chipotle, but I'm gonna
I've
have to
made
find
them.
one.
I will when I come out to see you sometime this year, because we got to make some content or something.
It's gonna happen. I might just make an excuse once I get through tax season. I'm just gonna start write-offs. I'm like, all right, I have a business trip to make out east. I've also never been to New York, so that'd be really fun.
We can show a day of like eating good food.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's another. We'll talk about that on the call afterwards too. You guys are just watching. Like I said, this is not a formal thing at all.
Yeah. But anyway, my lowest point was not that. My lowest point actually was pretty absent of food altogether. I thought I had the healthiest mindset in the world. I was just going to eat a little bit less, move a little bit more, and I wasn't going to worry about the scale. And the fat would come off when it did. So I basically stopped eating and I started walking 7 miles a day. And yeah, there go the eyebrows that are well deserved. I was not fat. Not in the slightest. There was no weight on me. In fact, I was about as skinny as I could be and still be okay. You could have shined a flashlight against my back and counted my ribs. I was really skinny, but I still thought I was fat. But I was skinny. And skinny was supposed to make me happy, wasn't? I'm 6'3". We're round about the same. I think you have an inch on me, but I was 155 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. Bad. And I thought I was fat. I had overshot my goal weight by 10 pounds without knowing, because I hadn't stepped on the scale. I said the scale's unhealthy. So was I.
Absolutely.
And it's then that I realized losing weight's not going to make me happy. I'm, in fact, probably the most devastated I've ever been at this point. Something has to change. That was my lowest point, when I was skinny, when I hit my goal weight. The number doesn't fix you. Never will.
No. When I had reached my all-time low weight, which was 199, that was straight down from 308. Mentally, I felt pretty okay, but that was oddly enough where I was physically my unhealthiest. I wasn't to the level where I was like borderline anorexic where you can see all my ribs or anything. I was getting there. But my blood pressure, my testosterone, my libido, I tore my ACL because I had low blood pressure. All of those things happened because I went too fast. So once I hit that number, I took like 3 months to just fucking figure the rest of my health shit out, because I hadn't got a good night's sleep in months. I had no desire to do anything. I had no energy. I mean, when your testosterone is shot, you feel like a husk of a person. You really do. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with it anymore, because it was awful. And not to mention, every time I stood up from the couch or from laying down, I saw stars and almost blacked out every single fucking time. And that's how I tore my ACL. For those of you that I told I was fighting a bear saving children out of a burning building, that was a fib. I just fell over walking to the bathroom.
I was backing you up on that. Now I look bad.
But yeah, no. So like, I think you hit it right on the head, dude. Like, the number on the scale, honestly, the visualization of it does not really mean anything if what's up here. I mean, you could apply this to not just health or fitness. You could apply this to, well, health is pretty much what the center is, but you could apply this to money, finance, business. Oh man, I've got all this money. I'm making all this money. My brother in Christ, you're working 80 hours a week and you haven't seen your family in a month. You
But I
know,
got
like
that
when's
bread
the
though.
last time? Yeah, but like, what does the bread mean?
Yeah,
You know,
secured the bag. Yeah, what does the
yeah,
bag mean?
yeah. That's
Nothing.
people get caught up in that as well. So it's really about really just taking a list of your priorities. You don't want to lose weight. You want to live life at a lighter, more confident you. You want to live a lifestyle at a lighter weight. You don't just want to get to that scale number. You want to get to 200 and you want to live there. For this other guy's example, he doesn't want to get to 200. He wants to be around 200-ish pounds or whatever he thinks visually that he looks like at 200 pounds.
Mhm.
And he wants to continue to live life and slowly improve his physique from there. But he wants to experience life at that weight. It's not, the party's not over once the 200 number hits out on the scale. The hard part's just fucking starting.
I had a video recently do very well, and in
You've
that
had that
video,
happen a lot, Mike.
yeah, I guess people have been seeing my face. I'm sorry about that. I should be filming from chin down, but it doesn't tend to do so well.
No, it's like ASMR every time I see a video pop up.
I had a video do predictably well, but this one did a little better than the others. And in that video, I had said something along the lines of I had spent so much time preoccupied with the weight on my body that I had neglected to address the weight that I was carrying on my soul. It, I could never get there just by doing things physically. I would be running at the big line that everyone seemed to resonate with is I'd be running and running and I would collapse at the finish line, sort of running from myself in the past proverbially, and I'd yell, "Are you happy now?" And I never heard an answer because there was no other person. It was me. And running from him was not what he needed. He needed someone to grab his hand and show him the way. So
Very well said.
that's don't try to run from yourself in this process. It won't work. You can't get away. You're stuck with you.
Absolutely. And that's a lot of the times there are bigger issues, there are bigger fish to fry when and something that I've structured my program and how I work with my people. I get a lot of really deep satisfaction from working with people who have difficult relationships with food. I really like helping people through that. That is my bread and fucking butter. I really enjoy it. And honestly, when I'm old and flabby and retired, I wouldn't mind starting some sort of clinic for people with eating disorders or something along those lines. Like, I'm very passionate about it and I really, really enjoy it because I have never been diagnosed with an eating disorder, but I know for a fact I put myself through the fucking ringer with all the different types of disordered eating during my weight loss journey. I've been through it.
You can give yourself one. I mean,
Oh
I'm a
yeah. I
diagnosed
mean,
binge eater, so I'm
yeah,
there. But I started developing other difficulties with food through trying to solve that binge eating.
absolutely.
Nothing I've been
Absolutely.
diagnosed with. So, I don't
Right.
feel right putting a name on it, but I've certainly got some proclivities that I didn't have before. And
Absolutely.
you can do that. By the way, you're going to be one of those ripped old guys at the gym. You're not
That's my
retiring.
goal. I want to
Yeah.
be one of those fuckers that is running like the marathons when they're 80. I want
It's
that.
happening.
I'm genuinely serious. I think
Mhm.
this bodybuilding arc will last. Well, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I just like to train like a bodybuilder, like the cutting
Yeah.
bulking cycles. This will last for probably like 2 to 3 more years. Maybe a little longer. And then I'm going to get into like combat sports. I'm really fascinated by Muay Thai or just
Mhm.
MMA in general, maybe jiu-jitsu. And then I'm just going to get into distance running. Like I have found running is holds a very near and dear place to my heart just
Mhm.
from I did that every single you okay, talk about your regimen. You didn't eat and walked 7 miles a day. During my weight loss journey, every single day, I did not miss a single day for 8 months, rain or shine. I ran a mile, walked a mile, swam the equivalent of a mile, biked 2 miles, and did a 30-minute dumbbell workout at my house every single day without fail.
It's too much.
I was eating the calories of a toddler, dude. So that was what really was fucking me up.
Yeah.
So don't do that, by the way.
No.
But yeah, I was there's a good metaphor for this that I thought of the other day, but I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me later. But
As soon as we hit stop, you'll figure it out.
exactly, yeah. I'll have my editor just throw it in somewhere. No, but essentially I thought I was doing the right things, but I was really steering myself into a fucking wall. And like Mike was saying earlier with the finish line metaphor, sometimes it's really sometimes you have to start without even thinking about the fat loss. Sometimes you have to start by completely restructuring your relationship with food, or completely restructuring how you talk to yourself, or completely restructuring your relationship with movement. There are some people that are addicted to this thing right here. The rings on the Apple Watch, the calories burned, which that's
it's overestimating it.
Oh man, we'll talk about that a whole bunch. But the reason how I start people when I'm talking to them, when I talked about the eating disorder stuff, we start week 1 like, all right, we're gonna see where your relationship with food's at. We're gonna see how you feel about food. We're gonna do this, and I want you to really think about XYZ because that's what I'm concerned about. And there's 2 specific clients that come to mind. They're both mothers, and they have a lot of body image issues. And one of them came to me, and I've only been working with her for, I think it's about 3 months ish. But she's down 10 pounds on the scale. And we had a phenomenal conversation yesterday. So she's way over this now, but she was getting a little down on herself for only being down 10 pounds. And she had gone out and gotten drinks with her friends. I'm like, so you lived life? You had fun? God forbid. And she's like, I just feel like I revert. I'm like, you're down 10 pounds on the scale in 15 weeks. You've completely healed your relationship with food, which was the main motivator for her working with me, by the way. I'm like, so you have now learned, because she's a meal prepper. So I'm like, so now you've learned how to eat on the fly better when you can't meal prep. You've learned how to see the scale go down even when there's hard weeks. You've learned how to incorporate walking consistently and use it as a supplement, not only for your body, but also for your mind. We solved the main issue already. And she's down 10 pounds on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Who fucking cares if you have a drink with your friends? Same
I
with
care,
what we were talking about earlier.
You should be. If you stopped doing that, that'd be bad, because this isn't about a number on the scale. It's about improving the quality of your life, and enjoying things with the people you love is part of that quality of life.
Unless you plan on becoming a monk that never drinks or does anything ever again, you got to fit it in somewhere.
Yeah.
So with all this yapping being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of I Like Big Fellas. I really do. That might be what it ends up being. But
we'll throw some names back and forth. We'll see what happens.
We won't. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm going to call it on YouTube, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, I think with the New Year's resolution, there's a lot of different people on a lot of different arcs. Nobody else's arc matters. Nobody else's story matters. The only one that matters is yours. You are the author of your own book. This is a fresh chapter, but guess what? What's the difference when you're opening a book? What's the difference between chapters? It's just another fucking page. It's just another fucking day. Do not overblow the fact that it's a new year. New year, new me is the cringiest thing that anybody could possibly say. You are the same person. The change that you are looking for between December 31st and January 1st will not come overnight. It comes over weeks and weeks and weeks of showing up consistently. So starting something, if you have to start with the babyest baby step you've ever baby stepped, that is a move forward. Do not leap 10 feet. Do one 1-foot step 10 times.
That's the way to do it. And for those of you who know me and will be aware of what I'm about to say, be kind to yourself. It's incredibly important on this journey. And people will ask me, how do you start to learn how to be kind to yourself? You got to figure out why you're mean to yourself first. That's how you
Yeah,
have to
that's not
address
fun.
it. That's the way to. And I know that sounds like a roundabout answer, but figure out why it is that you're not, and then we'll start to work on it from there. And we might work on that in the next episode.
We got lots of work to do. We're both two pieces of work that just like yapping. This is all this is. It's just an excuse to yap. That's really
Of
all this
course it
is.
is. Yeah, this is you guys
Yeah,
just get to be an audience to us wanting to talk to each other. So
pretty much. Yeah,
you're
you guys are
welcome.
you're just enabling us, really. No, but in all seriousness, Mike, thanks for hopping on, buddy. We'll do this. We're gonna be recording on Wednesdays. So we'll eventually get like a solid schedule of release times and everything like that. Like I said, this is gonna be something that evolves into something gorgeous. And Mike and I are two devious little dudes that like to scheme behind the scenes. So there'll be good stuff. Maybe we throw on some guests and whatnot. Maybe we bring on a client. Who knows? That'd be kind of fun. So with that being said, thank you everyone who decided to tune in. Mike, I love you, buddy. This has been a
Love you
phenomenal
too, man.
conversation. We will talk next week. We've already spitballed like 5 different episode ideas, so we'll pick one of them and run with it. But for that being said, we'll just run with the makeshift name for now. Thank you for watching, big fellas. Thank you for enabling us to have such incredible platforms and getting to make an impact on your life. But remember, it's yours, nobody else's. Okay, you take credit for your victories. All right. At Mike Needs a Plan on all social media platforms. At The Biggest Fella on all social media platforms. I've been Noah. He's been Mike. Thank you all so much for watching. Be kind to yourself and keep it simple, big fella.